it's gonna rain. If it rains, I'm blaming I'm sorry.
All right, here we go. Let's get ready for tomorrow's test.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So, number one is from sections 2.1 and 2.2, where we had to do this before on our other quiz. It says, describe the transformation of our quadratic, our parent function, represented by the function g. So the x minus 4 tells us what? If it's minus 4, which way are we going? Right, remember? When it's with the x, it's horizontal, and it's like opposite of what you would think, right? Minus 4, you're thinking it would be left 4, but remember, horizontal, it's always the opposite direction. So be right 4. Or you can think of what makes that parentheses equal to 0, what number. And then plus 3 tells us up 3. The vertical is whatever it says. If it says minus 3, then we say down 3. So. It says state the vertex, axis of symmetry, domain, and range. Okay? Remember, this is in vertex form. Remember, the H and the K is the vertex. So the vertex is 4, 3. It's that easy. Just looking at the equation when it's in vertex form, or the function. Okay? If you know the vertex, you know the axis of symmetry. Whatever the x value of the vertex is your axis of symmetry. All right, so if we draw that in, if we have to graph this, don't we? So there's my axis of symmetry right through 4. Okay? My vertex is at 4, 3. Right there. Okay? So I labeled my vertex. Okay? And then, I usually just go one left and one right of that point. Okay? And basically all we're doing is moving the parent function, over 4 and up 3. Right? So the parent function, if we would look at the points, remember, are 0, 0, negative 1, 1, 1, 1, positive 2, 4, negative 2, 4. So I can just move all those points right 4 and up 3. Or you can just plug in your x values. My x value of 3 would be 3 minus 4, negative 1, squared is positive 1, plus 3 is 4. So 3, 4 would be right there. And do we have to plug in 5, or what do we know about that other point since we have our axis of symmetry? It's reflected, right? Or because it's symmetrical. So there's another point. And I just asked you to graph 3 points, right? So 5, 4, and 3, 4. So you can do it either way, whatever is easier for you. If you want to do the parent function and then just move your points, whatever the transformation is, right 4 and up 3, or if you want to just pick a point left of your axis of symmetry, use the x value and substitute it in, and figure out the y value, you can do it that way. Either way will get you to the same spot. Okay? Domain, all of you get this right, because all parabolas, domain is all real numbers, right? Okay, domain is which values again? X values, right? And then the range is the y values. So range is y, since it opens up, greater than or equal to, and then what number do we use? The 3, the y value of the vertex. not the x. Some of you do that. Some of you put the x. Even though you know it's supposed to be the y, you write the x value. No, the y value of the vertex for your range. Opens up, greater than or equal to, opens down, less than or equal to. Any questions? I think we did everything, right? We found, describe the transformation, right 4 up 3, vertex, axis of symmetry, domain and range, and then we graphed it. Okay? All right, number 2. We're supposed to graph the function, state the y-intercept, vertex, and axis of symmetry. Be sure to graph 3 points. Okay? Well, the easiest thing is the y-intercept, right? Which is always the c value. What form is it in right now, the function? Standard form. So when it's in standard form, that c value is your y-intercept. And the y-intercept's whenever the x is 0. So I always write it as a point because the y-intercept is a point. Okay, to find the vertex in the axis of symmetry, we have to use that little formula for axis of symmetry. That's the negative b over 2a formula, which you guys should remember. So what's my b value? Negative 8, right?
Why is the y-intercept 3? I thought it was 1. Yeah.
I don't know why I put 3.
Alright.
I'm just seeing if you guys were paying attention, right? I was just checking. I have no idea why I put 3. All right, sorry. And then 2 times what's a? Negative 2. So the 2 negatives up top make it positive 8. The 1 negative in the bottom makes it negative 4. So my axis of symmetry is x equals negative 2. Questions on that part? I have to graph it. So I'm going to draw in my axis of symmetry. Okay. How do I find the vertex then? Did I hear somebody say plug it in? Yeah. Plug what in? Negative 2 for what? X. Good. So negative 2. So I can start my vertex. I'm just figuring out what the y value is. So negative 2 times negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2 plus 1. When you do that math, you get a positive 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. A negative 8 times a negative 2 is a positive 16. Negative 8 plus 16 is positive 8 plus 1 makes it a positive 9. All right? So negative 2, 9 is my vertex. Did this open up or down? Down, right? Because my a value is negative. We said what our y-intercept was, so let's graph that. So where's my third point? Mirrored, right? So I go left 2 across from that point, which is negative 4, 1. So there's my 3 points I was asking for, and then connect for your parabola. Questions on number 2 when it's in standard form? So number 1 was in vertex form, number 2 is in standard form, number 3 is in intercept form. Okay? We're good to go on to number 3? All right. So it's just what makes these two quantities, let's change colors again. equal to 0. So what number in for the first x makes that equal to 0? Negative 3. So one of my x-intercepts is negative 3, 0. What makes the second binomial there, that parenthesis, equal to 0? Positive 5. So there's my two x-intercepts. All right, and I'm going to graph those right away. So there's negative 3, 0, and here's 5, 0. Okay? All right, to find the axis of symmetry when it's in this form, you add the two intercepts and divide by 2. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. All right? Or you can just split, find the halfway point between those 2 points, right? So I'm going to draw that in. Did that cut them in half, those two? Is that halfway between the 2 blue marks? Yeah. Okay. So we have to find the vertex. I know what my axis of symmetry is. We just did that. So I'm going to write that in. And then we just substitute like we did the other one. Okay? Put 1 in for the x. So 1 plus 3. So my vertex is 1 something. And then 1 minus 5. 1 plus 3 is positive 4. And 1 minus 5 is negative 4. When I multiply those, that's negative 16. Okay, so on my graph, it's kind of hard to find that spot. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to make a point down here and just say that's 1, negative 16. Okay, you don't have to make sure it's exact. And then there's our graph. Questions on number 3. Do you feel more confident with those now that we went over them? Okay, good. Any questions? Okay, so what's the first 3 going to look like tomorrow? Just like those, right? Just going to change up some numbers, that's all. Okay? All right, number 4. A function is transformed to the right 1, then vertically stretched by 2, write the new function. Okay? So we're changing it to a different function. We're doing a transformation. All right, so right is horizontal. So which variable am I working on? The y or the x when it's horizontal? The x. I'm going right 1. When it's horizontal, remember we write it opposite of what we think. Right 1, we're thinking plus 1, but actually we got to do what? Minus 1, right? So wherever we see an x, I'm going to call the new function g. Wherever we see an x, I'm going to put x minus 1. So that's transforming it to the right. Why did I put 5? I was looking at that 5 that I was adding. All right, so wherever there's an x minus 1 because it was the right one. If it said transform left 1, then I would have put x plus 1 in this spot. You with me? Now I have to simplify that. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is the exponent, the x minus 1 squared. Okay? Which means x minus 1 times x minus 1, which is foiling it. X times x for first. Outside, x times negative 1. Inside, negative 1 times x. Last, negative 1 times negative 1. Okay? So if I write that out simplified, that's x squared minus 2x plus 1. That's the only thing I did right now. right? Now, I want to distribute the 2 and the -3 for my next step. So 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times -2x is -4x. 2 times 1 is 2. -3 times x, -3x. -3 times -1 is a +3 plus 5. Okay, doesn't do anything that plus 5. Let's move this down, give me some more room. Combining like terms, I got a 2x squared. -4x and a -3x is -7x. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 5 is 10. So that's just moving it right 1. We finished that part, but there's another part. Vertically stretched by 2. Okay, when it's vertical, up and down, which variable are we working on? The y, right? Because that's the y-axis. So I have to multiply the whole thing by what? 2. So that's all I'm going to do is multiply that whole thing by 2 for this part. So just distributing a 2 through there. So 2 times 2x squared is 4x squared. 2 times -7x is -14x. And 2 times 10 is 20. So that's our new function after those 2 transformations. Questions? There's no real quick way to do it. Just take your time. Substitute in for x when it's a move right or left. When it's vertically stretched or compressed, multiply the whole thing by that number. Question? All right. Then we'll move on. Number 5. Write an equation of travel with the given information. Okay? So they give us the x-intercepts, right? So we're going to put it in intercept form. Right? So remember, intercept form is y equals a times the quantity x minus p and x minus q. All right? From the information we're given, what's the p and the q? 4 and 24, yes. What's the x and the y? 0 for x and 9.6 for y, right? We good? We're going to solve for what? A. That's what we're looking for first. We're looking for the a value. All right? So, we're going to put 9.6 in for y. We all know what a is. That's what we're looking for. We're putting 0 in for x, 4 in for p, 0 in for x still, and 24 in for q. What's 0 minus 4? -4. And 0 minus 24? -24. Well, -4 times -24 is a positive 96. So this is 9.6 equals 96 times a. To get a by itself, we're going to divide by 96. When we do that, we get 0.1 for a, or you could write 1/10. Fraction is 1/10, the decimal is 0.1. It doesn't matter. So my answer is now just substituting in this for a and these for p and q. We just leave it the x and the y, x and y, when we write the equation or the function, okay? So y equals a, which is 0.1, times a quantity x minus 4. Oops, I need a minus sign. And then x minus 24 for my q. Questions on number 5? Okay. So what some of you were forgetting to do in earlier assignments was figuring out the a. You guys were good at putting the 9.6 and the 0 minus 4, 0 minus 24, but then you were stopping. Okay? Find the a value and then write your equation. Leave your y and x as y and x. Just substitute in for a and p and q. Number 6, we're going to do in vertex form because they give us a point in a vertex. So vertex form is y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. The vertex, remember, is the h and the k, and the point, the 1 and negative 7 are my x and my y. And I just substitute, just like we did in the last one. So negative 7 is y. We're looking for a. X is 1. Now my h is negative 2. And then my k is 5, so it's plus 5. What happens there with 1 minus negative 2? That's a positive. I forgot an extra parenthesis here, sorry. That makes a difference. So that's 1 plus 2, which is what? 3, and what's 3 squared? 9. So this is negative 7 equals 9a plus 5. Because I added the 2 to get the 3, and then I squared it. Got to do what's in parentheses first, right? Then do the exponent. Subtract the 5, and then divide by 9. So negative 12 equals 9a, and divide by 9. So that gives me, if I divide both of those by 3, negative 4/3. If you put negative 1.3 repeating, that's okay also, because that's what the decimal is. But it's a repeating decimal, it's not just negative 1.3. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute, this for a and this for h and k. I'm going to leave my x and my y, x and 1, okay, when we write the equation. So, y equals a times the quantity x minus h, which was negative 2, so I'm going to write it as plus 2 squared plus k, which was 5. There's our equation for number 6 in vertex form. Questions? You guys getting those right? You guys that did your homework? Okay. Number 7. A model rocket is launched from the top of a building. The height in meters of the rocket above the ground is given by that function. H of t equals that, where t is the time in seconds since the rocket was launched. What is the rocket's maximum height? So what am I looking for here to figure this out? Yeah, I'm looking for the vertex. What form is the function in? Standard. So I have to find axis of symmetry first. Using our x equals negative b over 2a formula. So negative b is 30, over 2 times A, negative 3, is negative 30 divided by negative 6, which is a positive 5, right? But still, I'm not looking for the axis of symmetry, I'm looking for the vertex. The axis of symmetry helps me find the vertex. All right, I know the x value of the vertex, so I'm just plugging it in. All right, so negative 3 times 5 squared plus 30 times 5 plus 12. Whatever that answer is the y value of the vertex, right? And that's the highest height of this rocket, right? The maximum point. So whatever I get for this is my answer. So 5 squared is 25 times negative 3 is negative 75. 30 times 5 is 150, and then the plus 12. So negative 75 plus 150 is a positive 75, plus 12 is 87. And that was in meters, right? So number 7 is 87 meters. So all we're doing for number 7 is finding the vertex. The answer is the y value of the vertex. It's that maximum value. We're looking for the max of that. Okay? Make sense? Simple, right? All right, the last two are the easiest ones because it's all what? All calculators. So get your calculator out to practice. There it comes. All right, so we got to go to our list. All right? Again, what we're looking for, we got to answer the question, but before we can answer the question, we have to find the equation. Okay? So we go to stat and edit. Now I've got numbers in there, so I have to clear it. So I go up, hit clear, go down, left, up, clear, down, and now I have 2 lists ready to go. All right, I'm going to 2, 5, 8, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, and then move over and put in your numbers. 2600, 6500, 8600, 8900, 7400, and 4100. All right. So check your work. Make sure you put in the right numbers. 2, 5, 8, 11, 4. I did that right. 2, 26, 65, 86, 89, 74, 41. All right. So only way you miss this is if you put those numbers in wrong. Okay. So just take your time in this part. All right. So now I go back to stat, move over to calc. Remember, these are quadratic regressions. So this is number 5. And then calculate it. And it gives you your A, B, and C value for your equation. Remember, your equation is, for your standard form of a quadratic, is that, which is on this slide, right? So I'm just substituting those numbers in, okay? So y equals negative 100 x squared. That's a positive 2,000, and that's an x with it, and then minus 1,000. Let's move that over. So there's our equation. Any questions on that? All right. So it's asking us, use the quadratic to write an equation that models the data. Use the equation to approximate the maximum profit. Okay. So basically I'm looking for the vertex again, right? So I gotta find my axis of symmetry. So x equals negative b over 2 times a. And negative 2,000 divided by negative 200 is 10. All right, so I'm going to substitute 10 in for x to find the maximum profit. So it'd be negative 100 times 10 squared plus 2,000 times 10 minus 1,000. And when you put all that in your calculator, what do you guys get? How much? Somebody? $9,000. Thank you. That's the maximum profit. So somewhere between $11 and $14. Well, actually, it was $10 a ticket, wasn't it? Between $8 and $11, actually. So the best amount to charge to get their maximum money will be $10.
No, I have something wrong with my calculator. It goes from line 1 to line 3. And when I tried to enter that,
Yeah, it doesn't work then.
yeah, I don't know why. It hasn't happened before.
Yeah, you, instead of hitting clear, you hit delete for that, I think. It's back. If you go to stat, if you lose a list like Mason did there, if you go to stat, number 5 is setup editor. If you hit 5 and enter, it'll bring that list back for you. Okay? If you don't remember that, that's fine. If you lose it during your test, just come up, I can bring it back for you. Okay? Any questions on number 8? Okay, so a lot of you weren't sure how to do 9, but 9 is just like 8. It's just less points they give you. Okay? So we do the exact same thing. You know, you got your X or L1 and your Y or L2. You got a -1, a 0, and a 2 for your X, 4, 1, and 7 for your Y. And do the same thing. And all you're doing there is doing the equation part. You don't have to answer any questions. So, back to edit. All right, up, clear, down, left, up, clear, down. All right, and then put those in. So, -1, 0, 1, I'm sorry, 2, move over, 4, 1, 7, stat, calc, 5, enter, and that's your A, B, and C. So y equals 2x squared minus 1x plus 1. So 8 and 9, calculator doesn't work for you. Just put the numbers in correctly. Any questions? We ready for tomorrow? What's a good way to make sure you're ready?
Go to the practice test.
Yeah, just do this again. Do it again. Then check your work. The more you practice, the better you get.